Hello guys, welcome to the channel, welcome back Scoundrels to the Scoundrels Den. We are talking today about Deadspace Anomalies, the big ticket money makers, the anomalies that make you the most money in the game, what most people use to get insanely rich. That is what we're going to be covering today. If you'd like to join the Scoundrel Den, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you can see when my next video goes live and you guys can come and chat. Leave a like and a comment, they really help the video, and I like interacting with you guys, especially if they're nice comments. That was a professional intro. G2A as well, sponsored the channel, there is a reference link in the description below. So we're going to be talking about Deadspace Anomalies today. So, Dead Spaces, where do they spawn? Well, they're out in nullsec, and they spawn at tier 6 and above, so the base has to be tier 6 and above, and then you essentially get them the same way that you would through Inquisitor and Scout anomalies. You essentially kill level anomalies that are equivalent level to the base of the system that you are killing, and essentially one of them will randomly spawn. So we're going to go through how we got there, talking a little bit about the theory, and then we're going to do the kind of the in-progress action about how to tackle a Dead Space anomaly with 2 people. You can solo them, but it is hard, especially at tier 7. Tier 6, probably soloable with the right setup, but you should be looking at either duoing or small-scale fleeting these things. And we're going to show you the tactic that myself and a guy from the Corp called Era Diaboli used. He taught me this. He basically walked me through my first ever Dead Space, and I'm going to cut the footage down a little bit from our Dead Space encounter, so enjoy. So I know very quickly, because I know some of you will probably be interested in the fit and also the loot that I picked up. This is the loot that I got from one Dead Space Anomaly. Era and me are splitting the loot entirely. This is the one Dead Space. Tier 7 and Dead Space Anomaly got me this loot. I got 6 cannons, 11 medium autocannons, 1 small strike cannon, and 17 medium strike cannon, Gistium C-types. We got a Gisti C-type medium shield booster, 4 Gisti medium micro warp drives, 1 Gisti adaptive shield hardener, 3 Gisti C-type medium capacitor batteries. We also got 3 remote shield boosters, which I've donated to my corporation, plus 14 angel ship debris and a couple of other bits of assorted loot. So that's the loot that I picked up from one Dead Space Anomaly. Lots of C-type stuff, as you can see. In terms of the fit that I ran this fit here. So I ran a double adaptive shield hardener with 1 large shield booster, then a afterburner alongside a Republic Fleet ballistic missile control system, 1 Weatherfire, and if you're doing Angel Dead Spaces, you will absolutely need this, otherwise you're never killing the Dramiels. So 1 Weatherfire, and then using 2 medium Nosferatus, a random drone. I only had an MK5, could not be bothered to change it, and then I ran 6 Republic Fleet medium rapid missile launchers. In terms of riggings, 3 times capacitor control circuits, 1 bay loading accelerator, 1 warhead calefaction catalyst, and then I also ran a hydraulic bay thrusters tier 2, which actually increased the range of my rapid mediums all the way up to 30, which is a pretty good range actually for soloing in a Cyclone regardless, but that could be replaced for a defensive rig if you want to, but I chose not to replace it because I thought, well, I might as well keep it like this because I'm duoing. So that was the setup of my ship for this particular run. So I did have a nice little segment here where Era Diaboli was explaining the method by which we spawn Inquisitor and Scout and also Dead Space anomalies in nullsec. Unfortunately, my sound settings were completely garbage and it meant that you couldn't hear anything that I was saying, so I'm going to have to do a little voiceover. Essentially, you find a system that has a tier 6 or tier 7 or above, if you're feeling brave, level base in nullsec. And what you do is you then go to clear anomalies of the level that is the base. Don't worry about clearing anomalies that are higher than the base. These will not give you a chance to spawn an Inquisitor, a Scout, or a Dead Space. What you are looking to do is clear anomalies that are the same level as the base. And then you want to go around clearing them as quickly as possible. The metric that Era Diaboli gave me was once every 5 minutes, and you're going to increase your chance to find or spawn a rare anomaly. If you're clearing at least 1 anomaly every 5 minutes, it means that you're clearing them quicker than they can respawn, freeing up slots for rare ones to respawn. So it's a pretty good rate to do them at. And the second thing to note is that he said from just purely anecdotal evidence, the lower the security state of a system, the more likely you are, or seemingly just by the PvE that he's done, to find a rare or spawn a rare or Dead Space anomalies. So there's some tips of spawning Deadspace anomalies in these systems. Now let's talk a little bit about the theory behind what you do. So when you warp into a Deadspace, there's going to be a gate like you'd see in Scout and Inquisitor anomalies, and the first wave in most of them do not contain elites. So you will go through and you'll clear the first wave as normal, either as solo or duo or in a fleet. You will just clear out that wave until you hit the final frigate or final destroyer. What you're going to do is you're going to keep that frigate or destroyer alive. Then you're going to have someone, usually someone with a micro warp drive. So Ira Diaboli in our duo had the micro warp drive on his Cinnabal. And he essentially MWD'd about 200k away. So he MWD's 200k away from where the spawn location is, and he drops a loot container. And then, upon killing the final frigate, we all, or you, or whoever's in your part of your party, will warp to that loot container, and you will then be 200k away from the spawn location, much like if you were warping in and out of a story mission. So I'm going to slow the footage down. Now, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the kind of the process of going through this. So what we've got here is a breacher, one of the first, the last frigates of the first wave here at the Deadspace Anomaly. What's happened is Ira Diaboli has micro warp drived 200 kilometers away and has dropped a cargo container. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to align towards that cargo container. I'm going to kill the frigate, and as soon as I've killed it, I'm going to warp as the next wave spawns. Now, for the second wave of the first lot, so the first group of waves, the second wave will not have any elites in it, so this isn't actually that important to do on just the second wave. But what I'm going to show you now is the third wave. Now, what's happened here is Ira Diaboli is actually a little bit too close to the cargo container to warp. He's actually instead going to micro warp drive away. Once he kills this Talwar destroyer, that will cause the next wave to spawn, and the third wave of the first group of waves has got a Dramiel in it and a Cinnabal. So you're going to kill the Cinnabal and the Dramiel separately. And what's going to happen here is I've already warped out to 150k or 200k away or so. He's micro warp driving away himself, so he's actually maintaining a good distance spread. And you're going to see here the Dramiel comes towards me very quickly. Dramiels go at like 5k a second. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then what you have to do is just make sure you get a web on it. This is why you need a web versus the Angel Cartel one specifically, because the Dramiels are just like, they're flies. They literally look like flies around your ship, and you need the web to be able to slow them down to actually apply damage. But yeah, you wait for the elites to come towards you like you would do in any story mission, and then you slowly clean up the wave as normal, but just remembering that the last small ship of any wave you're going to want to keep alive until you can align and warp out back towards the loot container. You basically want to reset that distance every single time until you get to the third gate. So when you get to the third gate, the first wave is going to have elites in it. So obviously you're not going to be able to warp in, and especially if you're in a battle cruiser like me, there's no way that you're going to get 150k distance. So what we've done here is we're going to have Ira Diaboli in his Cinnabal use the gate, use his micro warp drive, and get around 200k distance away from the pack whilst just shield tanking as much as he can. Once he's done that, I am going to warp in. I'm going to immediately align, and then I'm going to start to look to warp out towards that loot container. So that's what the only difference in tactic is, this third gate wave, because for the most part all we've done is we have killed the first wave, we've gone out and dropped a loot container, we've warped to the loot container, we've killed the last ship of the first wave, and then we've waited for the elites to come towards us. But you cannot do that on the third gate because it has elites in it straight away. So what you need to do is you need to be able to get someone out on the third gate to drop a container, and then immediately warp towards it. So you can essentially start from 200k straight away. And what you can see here is I've warped in. He is being chased by, I believe, the Dramiel and the Cinnabal. You can see that I've actually ended up near the middle of the pack. So there's loads of... I'm going to start to take a little bit of aggro off him in the middle of this entire Deadspace pack. And while I'm here, I'm going to kill a couple of these frigates. So we've warped in, and I'm going to wait for him to drop a cargo container. As soon as I see a cargo container on loot drop, I'm going to align towards it, and I'm going to warp out and get to 200k away. We're going to kill the elites and any of the other ships that have ended up near him, and then we're going to do what we've done for the entire... we're going to do what we've done for pretty much the entire run so far, which is essentially... kill the waves. On the last ship of each wave, make sure that we warp back out towards that cargo container, and then essentially kill the elites and rinse and repeat. So he's dropped that cargo container on this wave. He has not killed any of the elites out there. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to warp to that cargo container, just making sure that I can tank as much as I can. And then we're going to kill the elites, slowly kill the wave, rinse and repeat, and do the whole thing again. It's pretty simple. The only tricky part is this third gate wave where it spawns with elites already there. And you can see I'm now out at this gate, out at this loot container. The Dramiel and the Cinnabel are already here. We're going to focus those down. And this is the end of the run. So again, we're out at 200k. You can see there is a lot of the elites that are near us. So there's some Cinnabels and there is some Dramiels near us. Then there is a whole host of ships that are about 150k away. And so this is the end of the wave. We kill the elites near the cargo container. You can see that this time it's actually my cargo container. And then once these elites are down, the rest of the wave is relatively simple. And the elites are the ones that are going to give you the loot. So the elites are the ones that are going to give you the C-type loot. The rest of the loot, honestly, I don't even bother getting. But we did get about, I would say, 60, 70 million worth of... we got 60 or 70 million worth of bounty loot as well. So it's just a very, very, very like high income anomaly. And I would say it took us around an hour to complete a tier 7 by ourselves. Maybe a little bit under an hour. The reason it took us a little bit longer is we did have a Chinese red pilot, so a pilot that we have declared red. He was coming in trying to steal some loot, so we had to be a little bit careful, but apart from that, it was relatively easy at tier 7. Things get harder at tier 8 when you start to spawn the elite battleships. That's the thing that you have to be worried about. So tier 7, Era tells me is the best ISK per hour. So I'm going to quickly skip to the end of this run just to show you that we managed to clear things up, and then I'll do a little bit of an outro. So here we are cleaning up the final ships of the last wave here in this tier 7 Deadspace Anomaly. We were really lucky to get it spawned really quickly. I told Era it's streamer luck. And again, we aligned towards the cargo container just in case we got it wrong. Basically just checking that, if we got it wrong, we can immediately get towards the cargo container. No extra waves spawn. And that is the end of the run. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys understand how to do Dead Space a little bit better with this tactic. It would require at least 2 of you, but I'm sure Dead Spaces are soloable, and I'll see you soon.